learners. Today we're going to learn about multiplying fractions. Multiplying fractions. Multiplying fractions is a whole lot easier than adding or subtracting fractions. You do not have to have a common denominator, which is real important. And as long as you know your basic multiplication facts and you know how to simplify fractions, you should be just fine. If you don't know how to do either of those, if you're struggling with multiplication or you're struggling with simplifying fractions, you need to practice that. And you're welcome to come to tutoring, and I'll talk to you about it some more. As far as multiplying fractions, there is some bad news in that some students have been taught, or they just believe, that you cross multiply, and that is not true. That is not true. You can cross reduce, absolutely, but never cross multiply. Never cross multiply, and we'll get into that a little bit more in just a moment. When you multiply a number that is less than 1 and greater than 0, you are multiplying proper fractions. You're multiplying proper fractions. For example, 1/2. Let me turn this here. 1/2 is a proper fraction. 3/4 is a proper fraction. 7/12 is a proper fraction. These are proper fractions, meaning your numerator is smaller than your denominator. Your numerator is smaller than your denominator. You might want to write that in your notes. Your numerator is smaller than your denominator. Don't forget, during all this time, you should be taking notes, okay? So let me show you about multiplying fractions. If I have 1/2 and I want to multiply it times 3/4, I just multiply across, meaning I multiply 1 times 3, means I multiply 1 times 3, and I multiply 2 times 4. Well, 1 times 3 is 3, and 2 times 4 is 8. They have no common factors, so this is already simplified. So my answer would be 3/8. Now, if I wanted to do another one, another practice, I could say 3/4 times, and this dot right here means times. You will see this more often than you see the times sign. You'll see this dot. So 3/4 times 7/12. 3 times 7 is 21. 4 times 12 is 48. And you'll look at this and you'll go, wait, this can be simplified. This can be simplified because both of these have a factor of 3. Both of these have a factor of 3. So that would mean that I would divide both of them by 3. And this is simplifying. 21 divided by 3 is 7, and 48 divided by 3 is 16. 48 divided by 3 is 16. So my answer here would be 7/16. So write these down. But I'm going to show you something. If you need to pause the video here to write this down, you can. But I'm going to show you something about this problem that would make it to where you wouldn't have to do this. And this is where cross simplification comes in, or cross reducing. If I had the numbers 3/4 and I'm multiplying them times 7/12, then I can look at this and say, wait, Ms. Jones, these have common factors. 3 and 12 have common factors. 3 will go into 3 one time, and 3 will go into 12 4 times. And what I mean when I say go into, means there is one group of 3s in 3, and there are 4 groups of 3 in 12. That's division. So I work out my problem now, And I can say 1 times 7 is 7, and 4 times 4 is 16. Notice that I cross-reduced early. If this down here confuses you, please don't worry about it. Just do it this way. Both times I got the same answer. And it's like I told y'all earlier this week or last week that one of the great things about math is you can do it different ways as long as you get the right answer. In both ways, I got the right answer. If you need to pause the video now to write this down, you can. I'm going to clear this, and I'm going to do another one where you can cross simplify. So if I have 4/5 times, let's say 15/16, okay? I can look at this and go, oh wait, 4 and 16 have common factors. 4 is a factor of 4, so that would be 1. 4 is a factor of 16, that is 4. Meaning there are 4 groups of 4 and 16, and there's one group of 4 and 4. But also, my 5 and my 15 have common factors. A factor of 5 is 5, and a 5 is also a factor of 15. 5 times 3 is 15. Now, if I work this out, I now have 1 times 3 is 3, and 1 times 4 is 4. And you can look at this and go, well, Ms. Jones, that's really confusing to me. If it is, then just work it out this way. If this is really confusing to you, work it out this way. 4 times 15 is 60. 5 times 16 is 80. Okay? I can look at this and say, I know because these end with 0 that 60 and 10 are both divisible by 10. So then I would say 60 divided by 10 is 6, and 80 divided by 10 is 8. Well, then I can look at this and go, wait, these are both even numbers, and they both can be divided by 2. 2 is a factor of 6, and 2 is a factor of 8. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. Please notice that I have 3/4 here, and I have 3/4 here. So either way is okay, as long as you come up with 3/4. I'm going to erase this, and we're going to go to our next slide. And here are your steps to multiply. So at this point, you can pause the video and write your steps to multiply fractions. Cross-reduce if possible. Multiply straight across. You multiply your numerator times your numerator. You multiply your denominator times your denominator. And then you simplify if necessary. Once again, if cross-reducing is a problem for you, then don't put this as your steps. This would be step 1, and this would be step 2. Either way. Let's look at this slide here. It talks about mixed numbers. Mixed numbers. Okay. Mixed numbers are numbers where you have a whole number, and you have a fraction. You have a whole number and you have a fraction. You have a whole number and you have a fraction. All right, so we're going to multiply our numbers here. The first thing you need to do with your mixed fraction, though, is you have to turn them into improper fractions. And an improper fraction is a number that your numerator is larger than your denominator. So to change this into an improper fraction, I would say 1 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3. So this would be 3/2 times, and then we're going to do this one, so that'd be 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 plus 3 is 11, so it'd be 11/4. So if we work these out, it would be 33/8. 33/8. Now, to change this back into a mixed fraction, I would take 33 and I would divide it by 8. 8, there are 4 groups of 8 and 33. 4 times 8, 4 times 8 is 32. If I subtract that, I get 1. And then, so this right here is my whole number. My quotient is my whole number. My remainder is my numerator. And my divisor is my denominator. So my whole number is 4. My remainder is 1. That's my numerator. And my divisor is 8. And that's my denominator. So my answer here would be 4 and 1/8. So I'm going to erase this. And I'm going to do another one for you. And I have the numbers 2 and 3/4. And I'm multiplying that times 6 and 2/3. Okay? So 2 times 4 is 8. 8 plus 3 is 11. We did that on our last one. So we ended up with 11 over 4. And we're going to multiply that times whatever improper fraction we get here. And to do this, we'd say 6 times 3 is 18. Plus 2 is 20. So that would be 20 over 3. Now, if we look at this problem, we could do this one of 2 ways. The first way I'm going to do it is without cross-simplifying. I would say 11 times 20. So I would say 20 times 11 would be 20 and 20. So that would be 220. Okay? So I'd have 220 divided by our over 12. 220 over 12. Well, we can look at this and we know that both of these numbers are divisible by 2. We know that because they're even numbers. So if I divide this by 2, remember, whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom. Whatever I do to my numerator, I have to do to my denominator. I divide that by 2. Well, that's going to give us 110 over 6. Well, we are still working with even numbers. So I can divide both of these by 2. So I'm going to do a different color just so that you can see this. So if I divide by 2 and divide by 2, then this is going to give me, see, that would be 0. Let's see, no, wait. Let me work this out quickly. I apologize here. So I would say 100, whoops. I would say 110 divided by 2. That would be 5. That would be 10. So it would be 55. So our answer here would be 55 over 3. Well, I think this might be as far as it will go. So let's now do our division here. Let's do our division here. So I have 55, and I'm going to divide that by 3. 3 will go in. There is one group of 3s and a 5, so that would be 1. We subtract, we get 2. Bring down my 5. 3 will go into 25 8 times. There are 8 groups of 3 and 25. That would be 24. 1. So remember, our whole number is our quotient. Our remainder is our numerator, and our divisor is our denominator. So our answer that we got here was 18 and 1/3. So I'm going to write that here, 18 and 1/3. I'll write that over here. The reason why I'm doing that is I want to show you an easier way to do this. I'm going to clean all this up. We were multiplying 2 and 3/4 times 6 and 2/3, which was 11/4 times 20/3. If we cross simplify, we make it a whole lot easier because 4 and 20 have a common factor, which is 4. So that would be 1. There are 5 groups of 4 in 20. So 11 times 5 gives you 55. 1 times 3 gives you 3. Once again, if we do our division, just like we did earlier, we get 18 and 1/3, which is what we got from our previous question, our previous way of doing it. So this is a whole lot easier. If this confuses you, once again, make sure that you know at least how to do it the other way. Finally, here are your steps. Turn mixed numbers into improper fractions. Cross-reduce if possible. Multiply straight across, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator, and simplify if possible. Have a great day, and we will talk more about this tomorrow.